Hello and welcome to this episode of the Wine Down ReWine. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us this week as we wind down the latest stories in entertainment and pop culture news. Wow, there's been a lot that's happened since the last time we spoke. Tammy, where to begin? Do you have a preference?
I do not.
Okay, let's start with one of my favorites, Celebrity Governorpalooza.
That's what it's called.
That is what it's called. California, because a lot of people think that California is just this great liberal bastion of a state. But there's also these really pockets of deep red in California. And I think California, if it weren't for the big cities, it probably would be a red state. That's just my opinion. But
same thing with New York, though. Like that's for any of the bigger states that are fully blue. If it wasn't for the major cities, they'd be red.
Yeah. So, they were all mad because of liberties and stuff that, Newsom was, and he's done some controversial things. They all are not Cuomo level controversial, but, but anyway, they are trying to recall him, and it looks like they're going to have enough signatures to recall. So they're going to have another election or whatever. And so none other than Caitlyn Jenner has filed paperwork to run for the governor of California. And so I don't know what to say about that.
You don't know what to say about that. What are your thoughts, Eddie?
I'm glad we don't live in California. But
I mean, it's not a serious concept. I hate the fact that everybody's thinking because Trump did it that anyone can do it, when Trump is not the norm. He was an anomaly that happened. Just all the stars just happened to align perfectly in order to get him to the position that he ended up getting to.
Plus the Russians.
Huh? Of course, there was something in her throat, y'all. But for Caitlyn Jenner and for all these other people that are thinking to also run for president in 2024, what Trump did is not going to work for you. And Caitlyn Jenner is a perfect example. You are a trans woman who does not fight for trans rights. You are a Republican who supported Trump, yet did not vote in the 2016, 2018, or 2020 elections. You have no platform whatsoever. When people visit your website, the only thing they see is you want to promote your brand and get them to sell stuff that, or buy stuff that says Jenner for governor or some shit like that. So basically you can no longer ride the coattails of your daughters and the Kardashians. So you trying your hand at going for governor. You ain't no Ronald Reagan. You ain't no Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And quietly as it kept, they were horrible governors. If you really do a deep dive, and Reagan was before my time, and I just know that he was a horrible president. If you go back and you peel away the layer of Republican worship for him, he was a bad president, a horrible president. And as much as I love Schwarzenegger as an actor, and some things, but
I was just about to say, what?
I didn't say he was a great actor. I just said he's kind of on that list of, okay, I can, in some things he has his moments, but
Terminator,
yeah. As much as I love him as an actor in certain movies, and The Expendables, but
Terminator, that's it.
The Expendables, he was pretty good. I love that series, but anyway, that's one of my guilty pleasures. Then, like you said, and I hate that. I feel bad for the people of California that they even would have to go through this, and that like you say, she's a trans woman who doesn't even fight or stand up for the right for trans rights, especially unless she's called out on it, or unless it. The only time I've ever seen her stand up for trans rights is when she tried to go to the bathroom when Trump. I think it was something about they were going to make it. They were going to make sure they were doing something with the bathrooms in Trump Tower. Okay. And they were making sure that they were gender specific, and you had to go into the bathroom that was that you were signed as the designation of your birth. It was something stupid. Of course, notice what I said: Trump Tower, Trump bathrooms, all that. That is the only time I can recall her ever coming out and saying something about trans rights, because she would visit Trump Tower or something like that. I don't know. It was really stupid. So it's just like she's really in it for her and herself, and I think it's all about what she could, her being a horrible governor. And again, when they were talking about this on The View, one thing I did not agree with was Joy Behar misgendered her, and I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but she did come out and apologize. She did come out and apologize for misgendering her, and Caitlyn Jenner's response was just on brand. It was, I forgive her because I don't believe in cancel culture. Exactly. And I was just like, what the, like, really? So on brand. So I was not even a fan of Caitlyn's back on the days of Keeping Up the Kardashians, when I did watch occasionally when she was her former self, Bruce. And I'm not a fan of hers now, and it has nothing to do with the change. I'm all about, hey, I'm happy you
be who you are.
Be who you are. I'm glad you decided to be your authentic self and live your best life and be true to yourself. But I guess that's what.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that you're a fucking horrible person.
Exactly. So, not everything changed. But yeah. And then, but I guess she would be better than number 2 in the California governor sweepstakes, Randy Quaid, who's just batshit crazy.
Ain't that the Quaid brother that nobody claimed?
Yeah. The Quaid brother who was rejected from Canada, who was on their land for a while, who didn't pay his taxes, who's just straight up MAGA batshit chewing on conspiracy crazy. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, no, I'm not jumping into that flame.
So, yeah, I was like, okay, but we here in Texas, we have our own, and this one's a little bit more serious, I guess, because I can't speak more to Texas politics and the dynamics here in Texas. Matthew McConaughey officially said he's running for governor. He talked about it, just and
he talked about it every year.
Yeah, you thought maybe it was Matthew McConaughey talking out the side of his ass. Well, in a recent polling, he is light years ahead of our current. I don't even want to call this dude governor, like. And then I was going to say something really crass. And
the dude in the wheelchair?
No, I was going to call him Hot Wheels.
Don't do that. Do not do that. Or you already did it. But shame on you. Shame on you, Eddie.
No.
At least I was correct on, what he currently uses to get around. But Eddie.
I'm sorry. Forgive me. Oh my God. Forgive me.
I don't know if you're going to end up at the pearly gates, Eddie.
I know. That's going to be one I'm going to have to account for. I'm just going to have to take the L on that one.
Oh my God.
But, so we'll just call him Abbott. Yeah. And my thing is this, and everyone I've talked to, and God, what is the world come to when W. Bush Jr., baby Bush, is giving excellent advice? He told Matthew McConaughey that it's not as easy as it seems, and to be sure this is something that he really wants to do. And I don't, even Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is polling ahead for presidency in 2024. And I'm like, look, people,
fuck you.
Politics is not just
not Eddie, but just the whole.
I know what
show.
you're saying. It's just like politics is not celebrity. Okay.
Thank you.
You may be a great actor. You may be great at what you do, but that doesn't mean you're qualified to run a state. It doesn't mean that you're
not a state. You're not qualified to run the federal government of the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world. Sit your behind down, The Rock, and go continue to make your movies.
And so, I'm just like, okay, so I've told people, I'm like, look, I don't know Matthew McConaughey's platform. I don't know this. I don't know that. Yes, Abbott is a shit show. He's fucking horrible. But I'm going to need someone real to come in and try to clean up the mess that they're making and help kind of roll back all this shit that we're dealing with, voter suppression, all this other stuff, So that's my take on celebrity governors. If you really want
Beto O'Rourke?
Yeah, Beto is better than because Beto's governed. He's done the job,
Mm-hmm.
He has political experience. You know what I'm saying? And I really think for us, one of the Castro brothers would probably be a better choice. I really do.
Oh yeah, Joaquin or Julian.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm coming to the realization that I'm kind of coming around, like they say, maybe Beto might be like the Joe Biden. He may not have been the man that that most of us wanted, but that we needed to do the job, So I don't know, but
he's
we'll
better
see what
than
happens.
fucking Raphael.
Oh God, that shit show. So, and hopefully one day, since we're on this topic, hopefully one day I am just going to put this out here as a bonus episode. You will let us talk. We can do a politics show, not necessarily about the policy, but just all the fucking shit show that is in that other party. It's not just to point out certain things like Matt Gaetz and his homeboy writing a letter, basically writing a fucking confession letter and giving it to Roger Stone of all people. Just the dumb shit like that. Venmoing sex, those types of things. Going on TV saying that putting a mask on your child is akin to child abuse. And if you see that, call the police because they're abusing your child. And then CPS in certain states having to put disclaimers on their websites and on their messages saying, no, children in masks is not child abuse. They're not even close. That kind of stuff. Or you actually still trying to recount a fucking election 6 months after it's over with the dude from the Cyber Ninjas using ultraviolet light. So maybe one day you'll just let me point out that, or my favorite, Twitter banning the hashtag Uncle Tim after Tim Scott goes on national television and says racism does not exist in America. So maybe you will let me do that one day, please. I hope.
You can do that at any time.
But
you're saying it as in you don't want to do it by yourself. You want me to engage with you on these conversations. That's what you're asking.
Yes.
I will allow you to have a show on politics anytime you want. Go right ahead, Eddie.
I need the engagement, but it's not it's just, and it's not even about politics. It's just about the funny, what the fuck moments, because the shit is funny. Like, if you just take it on its face, it's funny, but okay. So that was my rant about that for the moment. So where do you want to go next?
Just go down your list, Eddie.
I'm on my list. We can stick with shit show men. No, wait, hold on. Before we go back though, real talk. Nah, we can just move on. So we're gonna stick with men who Billie Eilish had this great song. Have you heard the new Billie Eilish song?
I'm not a fan of Billie Eilish.
Oh my God. Oh my, was that lightning? It's raining here. Oh, okay.
You got that with lightning? I was like, I'm the one who said I didn't like her. I was looking like, is the lightning coming? Why did lightning attack me? you for my segment, but go ahead.
Well, okay. Well, see, I had someone who stayed home, literally stayed home this week to watch the premiere of the Billie Eilish video, which was not even live. Okay? Just the video premiering on YouTube. They decided to stay home for that. Yes. Real talk.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean, some of her songs are nice, but I'm not a fan where, like, if I hear she has a new song, I'm rushing to go listen to it. Like, I'm not a fan of her voice. She makes me a little uncomfortable. So yeah. She's too awkward for me. She's too awkward for me. I mean, of course, other people love her awkwardness. That's the reason why she has such a huge fan base. But she's too awkward for me. Like, I'm good on that. So her awkwardness makes me not necessarily want to listen to her music. And then it's nothing that'd be like, yo, that shit was hot. Like, I've never said that about any of her songs.
Her awkwardness makes me feel right at home. I guess that says a lot about me, though. I'm awkward, but that's okay. I own it. Yeah, I owned it. I'm awkward. But she has a great song, a new song just released this week called Your Power. And it's about, abusing your power and things of that nature. And we've, in the past couple of years, we've come to a reckoning with people abusing their power. And they're finally being held to account. Not getting into the details, but Derek Chauvin was recently found guilty. It looked like he was shocked shitless that he was actually found guilty of murder. But, so in one case, people are starting to try to hold the police to account for things like that. And I think the biggest reckoning as far as what we've talked about in pop culture has been Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, things of that nature. Well, the next one on the list is Scott Rudin. He is a super producer. If you've seen, he's produced probably some of your favorite movies, and his is a little different than the whole. He's being called out for his bullying behavior, and man, was he a fucking bully. I wasn't even aware of. You tend to think that some people, I don't know how to say this. You tend to think that some people are not always going to just be the nicest people, but I didn't expect what I read. Like that was some crazy shit. So, hello, are you still there?
I'm here, but you haven't said anything about what was said about him. Like,
he was a bully. Like, I don't know what to say. It's just you're making me do all the heavy lifting today. Okay. Throwing food at his assistants. Throwing computers at his assistants. Need I go on? He was just a horror story. You name it, he did it. Like, hello?
I'm saying hello.
We're gonna have to start over.
No, we don't. No, I mean, like, you set it up. I mean, yes, but he's a behind the scenes guy. Like, I don't necessarily like. It was really horrible what I read, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, he's protected by Hollywood, and he'll continue to be protected by Hollywood, because I don't hear them really changing anything about, his involvement in different movies and, and all that stuff. The only difference between him and Harvey Weinstein is that Harvey Weinstein was sexually abusing people, but he's physically abusing people, and he was still able to do what he's doing. So, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, that's Hollywood, and he's a middle-aged white man who will continue to get away with this shit, just like Josh Whedon.
Well, okay. So he did step back from Broadway. So I was trying to look.
Broadway's dead right now anyway. So,
but he was behind some of the biggest productions coming to Broadway. So he stepped back from his Broadway roles. He also stepped back from a lot of his movie productions. He was working on a biopic. He was working on producing a biopic about Auntie Dionne Warwick, who is a Twitter queen, and that has been paused. So he is being held to account. My thing is why, and I guess what I agree with you is, why did it take so long? Because it's not like this stuff was done in secret. Everyone knew he was a fucking nightmare. And they knew, and just like everyone knew the stuff about Weinstein, everyone knew the stuff about Cosby. They were Hollywood's worst kept secrets, but they were protected for so long. And I guess that is the thing. So I really want to see, like, is he going to, even though, you know, Weinstein was sexually abusing people, he was physically abusive, emotionally abusive, mentally abusive. Are you going to hold them accountable, those types of abusers accountable too? And I was reading this other article where they were talking about how this type of abuse is starting to be called out, the meanness, the whole mean girl thing, you know, the whole thing about Ellen's behavior on her show, and how she's still dealing with the fallout from that, you know, even though she didn't lose her show, but, you know, it's just, so we'll see what happens. How long is it a self-imposed? Will they welcome him back? Like, can he go away and just say, hey, I'm going to seek therapy, or just be quiet and still continue to be?
Yes. It ain't sexual abuse. It's not sexual assault. And the people, because he was protected all around, and people being scared of outing him because of the fact that they knew as soon as they did, like, it would cut their career. That's the reason why in the articles that I've read, they still wouldn't put their name out there. And the ones who have put their name out there is because they're at the top of their game enough that they're protected. So at the end of the day, yeah, he can go silent for, you know, give him a while where, you know, he's no longer publicly producing anything and he's not the face of his company. And then all of a sudden he's going to slip back on in with his shitty behavior, and he continue to be protected. Why? Because he's a middle-aged white man in Hollywood, and they run that town. That's my thought.
I'm trying to let the optimist in me come out with something to say.
Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. Because then, like, you know, we're going to talk about, you know, the fact that I was correct on, you know, in Georgia, when I said that these movies are going to continue to film in Georgia. They're going to play a good game. They're going to come out and say, like, you know, power to the people and everything like that. But at the end of the day, they're going to continue doing their business in the state with their voter suppression law. And what ended up happening? Hollywood is still doing their movies in the state with the voter suppression law.
Well, yeah, Ryan Coogler, the one, well, you know, Disney produces it, but he's also listed as a producer and writer and director of Black Panther series, and Black Panther 2. He spoke out about why he chose to keep Black Panther in Georgia. And Will Packer, also another power player in the scenes, African-American, big-time producer of a lot of movies like Girls Trip and stuff like that, why he's continuing to shoot in Georgia. And it makes sense. It goes along with the same reason that Stacey Abrams asked people not to necessarily boycott, is because the people who, and I still have mixed feelings about it, but I totally get it, because the people who are going to suffer the most are going to be the day-to-day people, the lighting people, the production people, the people behind the scenes, the people who work craft services, the people who rely on those jobs for paychecks to support their families. Those are the people who are going to suffer the most from the boycott. So I understand it.
And that's why they expect it. That's why they're able to pass laws like the voter suppression laws in Georgia, and then you have other laws in these other states, because they're hoping that people have that mindset where they're going to use it, well, you know, let's not hurt the local people, you know, because they still need a job and everything like that. So we're going to still work in this state, when the only thing that will change in that state is the fact of them losing money. Yes, it's gonna hurt, but that needs to be put onto the fact that you have this law that has been put in the book, that is suppressing people's votes. They're not going to feel it if you say, well, I'm going to continue to film there because, you know, it's about the local people and everything like that. That's what they expect. That's what Brian Kemp expected. He's like, they're not going to leave because we're going to show them, like, you know, well, you're going to be hurting the local people more than you're hurting me. So why are you going to leave? And they end up saying, like, I get it, but only hard decisions is what will change these laws that are being put on the books, is those types of hard decisions on packing up your shit and leaving. But if you're not going to pack up your shit then leave, then don't come out again against these laws. Don't say shit, because I don't want to hear anything you got to say, because it's not going to make no difference. My bad. I apologize. Let me get off of my soapbox.
No, I mean, and again, I agree, and
I get it. I just, you know,
I get it. I mean, I agree. I can't disagree with what you said, but I also get the other side of it. And my thing about this is we've got to get people to stop voting against their self-interest, their own self-interest.
We got to get white people to stop voting against their self-interest. I'm sorry. I'm going to put that out there.
Well, you know, Uncle Tim said racism doesn't exist, so you can't just say it's white people.
Uncle Tim.
No, thank you. It's been a while, but it ain't been that long.
I mean, you know, like, he's a lone Black Republican in the Senate from the state of South Carolina. Fuck what you say, because in the same sentence, he also talks about how he's been pulled over by cops, and, you know, and he's felt the fear in his heart. How you gonna feel the fear in your heart and then tell me that there's no racism in this country? Get out of here with that stuff. See, fucking South.
See, Graham says homophobia don't exist. Never.
Eddie, how could you?
I'm sorry. I'm being so bad today. I'm sorry.
Eddie's on another level, y'all.
You leaving me a lot to answer for. Okay.
Oh my God.
So, we can go to I know. Did you watch the Oscars?
No, I did not.
Going back to our original, going back to what started this conversation that's just quickly taken a turn. Scott Rudin, Hollywood producer, is an asshole, has been an asshole, will probably continue to be an asshole until he's truly held to account. Joss Whedon, same thing. Part of the reason why I haven't watched The Nevers yet, you know.
Is he a producer for The Nevers?
Producer, creator, writer.
Really? Well,
yeah.
You remember, it's all about the local people.
In LA.
It's about the local people, like the lighting people and everything like that. Sorry, that was so rude of me, my bad.
So we're going to keep supplying this. We're going to keep giving him jobs so he can continue to be an asshole so these people can continue to eat. The people that he's abusing need to eat at the hands of his abuse.
Their bills need to be paid too. It just happened to be that, you know, his bills are a little bit more expensive.
Wow.
Oh, my bad. Oscars, right?
Oscars, yes.
I did not watch the Oscars, but I would like to see, what did you think of it? Because I heard that it was a fucking shit show. So I'm cursing a lot in this episode. But
you're welcome. I'm rubbing off on you.
You are. It was a shit show. So I would like to see, since I know you watched it, what did you think of it?
The best headline, the best review I could say probably mentions that the Oscars was, if it was multiple choice, it was wacky, it was wonderful, it was what the fuck, it was a shit show, or it was all of the above. And I'm going to go with all of the above. You get what they were trying to do. You do. But, and I hate to agree with the Mango Mussolini, but he said that the Oscars need a host. I guess ever since the Kevin Hart thing, they try to go hostless or whatever. They do need a host. And I think Regina King would have been a great host. She opened the show. And it kind of took away, I guess, because of the pandemic, and a lot of the movies that were nominated this year weren't from the traditional studios. A lot of them were streamers. Hulu, Nomadland, and a surprise to no one, won for best movie. Chloe Zhao won for best director, which was amazing. The cinematography in Nomadland is amazing. I guess in kind of a little bit of a shocker, maybe not. Frances McDormand won for best actress, which I'm not surprised, and I think we talked about it before, but I watched Nomadland. You didn't. I watched it so you wouldn't have to. You're welcome. It was an interesting story, but it wasn't my favorite movie. But the cinematography was great. Chloe Zhao deserves all the flowers and all the things. She did a great job directing the movie. It was, the story, like I said, was very, very interesting. But I haven't seen Promising Young Woman yet, so I can't speak to that. I heard it on my list to watch. But I did see Ma Rainey in the United States versus Billie Holiday, and I don't think her performance was better than either of those two. So, yeah, it was just weird. I will say that. So I don't know if I said the weird part, but it was weird. And I didn't watch all of it, believe it or not, because I was tired. And I said, okay, I'm going to go to bed. And you would think, even with it being so scripted and everything down to the T, there's no way the Oscars are going to go over its normal 3-hour mark, especially as weird as it was, right? But it's going into 3.5 hours. So I pulled a Tammy. I'm like, oh God, how much longer is this shit? And
that's such a Tammy.
And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to bed. And one of the last Oscars to come up was going to be for Best Actor. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to bed. I'll just see in the morning when I'm working on the Popcorn Wine Down, the daily wine down at the popcornwinedown.com. Check it out. Plug. I said, oh, I can just talk tomorrow about the greatness of Chadwick Boseman and how he won an Oscar. Bullshit.
He did not.
Wake up the next morning and Anthony Hopkins won the fucking Oscar. And I'm like,
he did.
Sir Anthony is a great actor. One of my favorites. Love him. But I'm like, how the hell is Chadwick Boseman going to
Did you watch the movie?
The Father?
I don't know what the movie was, but did you watch it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. It is on my list. I tried to go back and watch all the Oscar movies.
I heard that he was phenomenal. Like, people were mad about Chadwick Boseman not winning because Twitter went ham. And then people pointed out, they were just like, so should they have given him the award just because he died? Because people who watched the movie, they were like, no, Anthony Hopkins was phenomenal in the movie that he played in to get it. Now, granted, it was an upset, but like everybody was so upset just because, yeah. I'm going to say what nobody else is going to want to say. On just because Chadwick Boseman died does not mean that he should have just automatically gotten the Oscars. And no, you cannot use the example of Heath Ledger winning when after he died as an example and a reason why Chadwick Boseman should have won as well. Like, just doesn't.
No, it's apples and oranges as far as performances go. And I have not seen The Father yet, to answer your question, and it is on my list. My thing isn't even that, because like I said, first of all, to be nominated, you have to be phenomenal in your role.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't seen Minari yet. I haven't seen Sound of. I was really bad about my Oscars this year, my Oscar movies, I guess.
Because you usually have like an Oscar movie marathon kind of thing.
Yeah, and because I usually go watch it at AMC. Like, they'll show the Oscar movies over a period of days or a couple weekends, and you can go see all the movies. And I usually do that. But this year they didn't have it, and just everything else going on, I was really bad about it. But so I'm going to catch up after. So I'm not doubting that Anthony Hopkins was great. I'm not questioning his performance at all. That's not where this is going, because, like I said, he's a hell of an actor. My thing is this: how is Chadwick Boseman going to win everything under the sun except for the Oscar? And then the fucked up part is where everybody was like, what the fuck? The Oscars actually, as long as it ended early and it ended abruptly, because they had the Best Actor Oscar at the end, because they were expecting him to win and his family to come up. And so when he didn't, it was like, Joaquin Phoenix was just like, oh, okay, this is it. Good night. And the winner is Anthony Hopkins. oh, okay, good night. Like literally, that was it. So it was just kind of weird. So I will see. We will revisit that after I watch The Father, and I'll let you know my honest opinion about what if he was better than if it was better than Chadwick's performance, which I thought was amazing in Ma Rainey, and not because it was his last performance. We've talked about this before too. I think he was just getting better and better as an actor in his career. So we will see. But yeah, the Oscars, they were kind of a shit show. It's just a weird thing. All of the awards, I don't know. I used to be a big award show fan, and they've all kind of lost their luster here lately. I don't know why. I guess maybe because they try to stick too much to a formula. And I can't even say it was just this year. I think for this year, given the circumstances, I think most of the award shows did a great job of making the most out of a shitty situation and trying to figure out how to do virtual awards and all that kind of stuff. Even the Grammys, for the problems that we talked about when we talked about the Grammys, I think the show itself, the production itself was really good considering everything that's been going on. So I will preface what I'm saying about the award shows losing their luster with that. But yeah, I'm not as like, if there was an award show, I used to always have to watch every single one of them. In the last couple of years, I've kind of fallen off. Like the Oscars has just been more out of habit just because I love movies and stuff. But yeah.
That's why I didn't watch it. Well, you know, like I just kind of like tell you to tell me when my peoples come on, but I haven't really fully watched award shows in a minute just because it's no longer what it used to be, or maybe I've just lost my interest in them completely.
Yeah. So I can agree. So we'll see. Hopefully they can find a way to kind of like get them back on track. And I know the ratings keep going down, but you know, in this day of streaming, when people are not going to have to buy 2.5, 3.5, 4 hour award show anymore because they have so many other options to watch on TV, you know, and then they're going to turn to those other options, Netflix, Hulu, something else. Like, oh, this would be a great time for me to go binge the shows that I didn't get to watch this week. So I know that's part of the reason why they're losing that audience. And as I said before, Netflix was the big winner as far as studios goes this year for the Oscars. And so that kind of legitimizes them because, you know, the other Hollywood studios, the big ones, Warner Brothers, the traditional studios, they have been fighting the whole streaming model, and they've been fighting against letting streaming movies even be considered for Oscars. But this year, you really didn't have a choice because you couldn't go into the theater. So we'll see how this all evens out as life slowly but surely, kind of, sort of gets back to. We discover the new normal. That's a good one. That's a good way to put it. So, am I going to have to let you know when BTS performs on the Billboard Music Awards?
Are they performing again?
I'm pretty sure they will be because, you know, their new song.
Well, they are coming out with their new single like literally 2 days before the Billboard Awards. So yeah, I can definitely see them actually perform. Yeah, you're right.
So,
but
the Billboard.
I don't know. It depends on how the song sounds. You know. Yeah. No. I'll just watch it on YouTube.
Oh God. Well, some of the big So, have you seen the nominations? Did you check out any of the nominations?
So I saw that The Weeknd has 16 nominations. Go
leading the pack. Go Weeknd.
And then The Baby has 11 nominations, so he's second in line.
Do you know who The Baby is now?
I do know who The Baby is. He's a different person from Little Baby.
Okay, who do you like better, The Baby or Lil Baby?
Seeing as how I don't actually know who Little Baby is, I'm gonna just say The Baby.
You know what? We're gonna create a group and we're gonna call ourselves Big Baby.
Big baby. But yeah, so I actually went through it just to kind of see like the nominations. So one thing I will say that I am mad about, I guess, is that BTS was not nominated for top artist of the year, which I find very weird, seeing as how they are one of the biggest artists in the world. And they're not nominated for top artist. I was just like, is it that groups aren't nominated for top artist, or like? That's the question.
Yeah, they're not nominated for top streaming, which I guess I know, you know, that I was disappointed. They're nominated for 4, which I think is more than they've been nominated in the past. Normally, there's just top social artists or something like that,
but top duo or group.
Yeah, so they're nominated in those 2 categories, which is normal, but they got top song sales. But Dynamite was streamed all over, so I know that was one of the highest streaming songs, I would assume. You know, but so I'm with you. They weren't nominated for top artists, but they have top rap artists, top male artists, top country artists, top country male. So I guess when going back through the list, where they would have had to rank them would be top Billboard 200, which is album. So I know Life Goes On was on, or B was at the top Billboard. It was only on there for like 1 week.
Yeah, I mean, like, granted, like B did not, like, it sold. It definitely sold albums, but I can understand it not being.
Well, let me rephrase. It was only at number 1 for 1 week, but it was on the Billboard Top 200 for longer. I don't know if it's still there. I'll have to go back and see. The top 100 artists. Dynamite, I think, is still in the top 100. Again, I'll have to go back and check. But I know as far as them having songs, they've had 3 number 1s, which is more than anyone. So I'm not really sure what they will have to do or what it takes to, like, how many weeks you're on that list. I know not just sitting at number 1, but how many you're on the list. The Weeknd, I can understand because every song he's had has hit, and I think he's been in like the top 10 ever since the album came out last year, which is amazing. So, but I get that. I was thinking maybe they would be in the top streaming artists, but they got top song sales. Radio songs, I know Dynamite was played. They played the hell out of Dynamite on U.S. radio because, you know, it was an English song. But I don't know. Yeah, the Billboard ones are kind of weird. I'd have to check out the rules for that.
I mean, and granted, like, I'll be honest and say that I'm not upset about them not, like, being nominated for those categories. But I do think that BTS is currently one of the top artists in the country as well as around the world. And so that's the only thing that was just like, whoa, like, I don't understand how they're not nominated for top artists. Now the other ones, I'm really not upset, but, you know, I've kind of, the Dynamite love has just died. But yeah, like, top R&B, Justin Bieber, Doja Cat, which I didn't know she was an R&B artist. I thought she was a pop artist, but maybe I could be wrong. Top country I saw was Chris Stapleton, which I love. Now, granted, there's other people, but I love Chris Stapleton. Like, that's my dude. Top Latin duo or group, I just discovered Cinco, and they were not nominated. And it's only like 3 groups that were nominated for top Latin duo and group. And I was just like, are they not a big deal? Because I found that they were a big deal, but, you know, maybe, you know, I guess not. And then top gospel artist. Do you know who was nominated for top gospel artist, Eddie?
Who?
Did you see the name of who was nominated for top gospel artist?
Are you talking about Kanye?
I am talking about Kanye West.
He won a Grammy for that, you know, his whole gospel shtick. And Lord, Lord, please, I'm going to hell in gasoline truck.
When they did Jesus popularity contest.
I can't get behind gospel Kanye. I just can't. I'm not going to question his sincerity, because I don't question people's religion and their choices unless you're telling me I'm going to hell for wearing a mask or something. But I don't know. People seem to love gospel Kanye though. He won a Grammy for it, and I was good with Jesus Walks, and I'm okay. Like, yeah, but we'll see. More power to him.
So yeah, I will not be watching these award shows. I'm not gonna be watching them. I will wait until the performances are on YouTube, and I will watch the performances on YouTube. But yeah, interesting to see how many The Weeknd makes. How many he wins? Sorry, not make. How many The Weeknd wins? And the baby, because now I know who the baby is, because he ain't Lil Baby. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I'm good. Oh, 17 got nominated for the first time for top social artist. Not saying they're going to win because they're up against BTS, but that was an amazing thing that they're nominated for the first time for top social artist.
It is. Another big time nominee, Morgan Wallen. We haven't talked about him in a while, Mr. Problematic.
Oh, I was skipping that on purpose, but okay, go ahead.
Well, the Billboards, they purposely, they let everyone know, yeah, you were nominated. We can't deny what you did, because his album stayed at number one for like 10 weeks, I think. Although I think a lot of that was protest bias, but that's neither here nor there. But they made it known that, yeah, he was not going to be invited to the show. He was not going to be asked to zoom in a performer, so even try to come in and perform live or any of that. Like, he wasn't going to have any parts of it. So even if he does win, and I said it before, even before all of this stuff came out, I did like him. I did like some of his music, and I was really excited before, he became problematic. He became, the top nominee in our problematic awards. But I was not impressed by his album. I really did not like the album very much, and I was just like, wow, it wasn't great in my opinion. And so, after I listened to it a couple of times, I gave it the cursory listens to see if there was something that just really stuck out to me. And I think I told you, he even had a duet on there with Chris Stapleton that I thought would just go Morgan Wallen, Chris Stapleton. I thought it would go ham. And it really wasn't. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see The Weeknd perform. I would love, I know he's going to perform. I hope he performs. I'm interested. I hope BTS performs Butter. I'm so excited about Butter. You're not excited about the BTS comeback. Why?
I am not.
And it's an English song. I did not know it's going to be an English song until I read.
They're trying again.
You know what? And I've said it before. They just need to go ahead and pull a Monster X and just record an English album. Get it over with.
They do. Just get it out of their system.
Yeah, just do your English album and go. It doesn't change who you are. You're still BTS. You're still great. Go back and record your regular K-pop. You good. But drop the mic on them bitches before y'all go to the military. Anyway, that was my thought on that. I'm sorry, I was on my bandwagon there. But
we should have talked about the fact that you got like 20 entertainment companies suing the Ministry of Defense in South Korea over the BTS law. But we don't have time for that, but go ahead.
Well, I don't know why they suing. It is the BTS law for something. Is your group name like, look, I'm putting a J.
But it's not called BTS though. It's not called BTS law. It's not called the BTS law.
Well, they need to just name it that. I'm like J-Hope though. We know who the law was for. So I'm be like, J-Hope, are you BTS? Are you BTS? Because I'm BTS. You ain't BTS. So it's very specific. My thing about this, and we didn't talk about it in our career thing. Fairness is not sameness, okay? So just get over it. Are
you serious? We can't talk about this. This show gonna be too long. We gonna end this here.
We're gonna do this.
We're gonna get into a whole discussion about me and Eddie being on the opposite sides of this whole thing.
Thank you. We're just gonna say TBC. We will continue this conversation and on a different day. But before we end, we will finish with the K-pop the comeback. I did talk about Monster X. I'm so excited. They are planning a comeback, a mini album or an EP this summer called One of a Kind. Cannot wait. I'm so excited. Oh, my bad. And then, you know to stop me when I do stuff like that. I don't know why you don't stop me.
I'm letting you be you. Go ahead.
And then another favorite, TXT, coming back with Chaos Chapter Freeze. That is going to be a full-length album. Excited about that. I think that's their second full-length album. The graphics for the comeback were great, and I was excited about that. I'm just going to warn people, going back to our boys, BTS, do not watch that butter melting video for 1 hour. Let me just spoil it for you. The butter melts at the end, it turns into a heart, and then it gives you the details for when the song is going to be released. Okay? Let me just save you that hour of your life. Do not do it. And no, I did not do it, because once I saw how long it is and I watched the first couple minutes, I'm like, what the hell? So I just fast forward through and I'm like, yeah, really, it is a butter graphic melting over an hour. Okay, so are there any other K-pop?
I'm just amazed on what you just put out there, but okay.
Why?
Lord. The only last thing is that my dude Taemin is going to do his comeback mid-May before he enlists in the military. So sad, because I literally just recently became a fan of his, and now he's going to the military. I hate when that happens. Hate it so much.
Bacon! I'm sorry.
Yeah, because Bacon is also enlisting at the end of the month with Taemin. And Chanyeol already enlisted last month, so they're all going to be in it. They're going to be in it together, but still kind of sad. But yeah, oh Lord Jesus, get it out. Anyway, so other than that, no other comebacks that actually are significant to me or Eddie. But just keep your ears open to TXT, BTS, Taemin, Monster X, and of course we will continue to talk about it, because if you haven't noticed already, we love K-pop. So it is our thing. So.
And then Hyphen is in the midst of their comeback for their Border Carnival. Check out.
Even though I do not like their single, I don't like the single, but I love "Not for Sale," which is on their CD. I love that song. I'm not a fan of their Drunk Date. Is it Drunk Days or Days Drunk?
Drunk Days.
But I watched their practice video, and I have to say, once again, they have shown what a phenomenal artist they are, and phenomenal group they are. They're so in sync, and I just love it. Can't stand the song, but because I'm not going to put it on my K-pop list, but phenomenal when they perform it. It's amazing, the performance that they give on that. So so definitely check out Hyphen with their first ever comeback.
Yeah, I love their I like the video for Drunk Days. The song has grown on me. I watched the video a couple of times, and then I go and I watch certain people review stuff, and once they explain it a little bit more and they point out the things you may have missed, I took a more critical look at the video, and I actually like it, and it goes along with the whole thing set up in their Border Day 1. So but yeah, I'm still not crazy about the song Drunk Days. Don't confuse me loving the video for me loving the song. It grows on you. But I do overall love the CD. Not for Sale is a great song. Fever is a great song, Mixed Up. So definitely check out Hyphen. And that does it, I believe. Anything else you have?
No, we're good.
Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. I feel like I've just been told to shut you. That was a nice way to tell me.
I'm saying that
before I go off on another tangent or something.
Yes.
Fine. I can take a hint. So, let me not hint and just say, check us out daily on the popcornwinedown.com. Check out the Daily Wine Down to stay up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news. And until next time, Oh yeah. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, and listen to the podcast on
Yes,
Apple,
please do.
Spotify, and Google. Google. Okay. I think the caffeine's kicking in, so
Yes. So until next time, I'm Tammy.
and I'm Eddie.
Bye.
Bye.